One of the neat things that I did in London, I was listening to a presentation by the CEO of a company called Pasofina, and he's a very good speaker. His name is Brett Roberts. And I guess he just stated something that was a little obvious to the investors that were in the room. And he said, you know, you're all here to make money. And I thought about that. And ESGold, as Peter said, not a lot of you have heard about us, but we're totally different than every other junior resource company. We're here to make money as well. And what we're doing, well, we are. And what we're doing first is going into production and then doing our exploration. So our overview is that we are just started construction of our mill. We've got basically what we're going to be doing is processing tailings, extracting silver and gold and mica. We've got 1 million tons of tailings at the Montauban project, which is right between Quebec and Montreal. It used to be a mine for about 80 years, from 1910 to 1989. The project is fully permitted to go into production for 300 days a year at 1,000 tons a day. We have the infrastructure that's in place. We have a 16,000 square foot mill building. We've got the roads, we've got Quebec Hydro, excuse me, and we're adjacent to the town of Montauban. And it's a beautiful little town too. It was a mining town for 90 years. Very good infrastructure. We don't have to worry about camps. We don't have to worry about hotels. They're there. Our construction process, which started on April 28th, will take us about 6 months. Funding for completion of the mill is targeted for this quarter. I'll tell you a little bit, let me give it a little bit of background, but we need about $6 million to complete construction, although we're starting it now. We have a $2 million operating line, and that's really just to get us into cash flow. So we will be cash flowing by the end of the year. Why that's important is that that's just the tip of the iceberg. So we've got about 3.5 years of processing the tailings, and those tailings will bring a revenue of about $35 million a year. That revenue will then help fund exploration. We're not going to have to go to the market. We're not going to have to do drills, get the assay results, so we can raise money, so we can do some more drills to raise. We're going to be self-funded. So the next financing that we do will probably be the last financing that we have to do. So our overview, we've been around since 2004. We have the Montauban Mine project. I'll get into some of the historics shortly, but it was a mine for 90 years. We have 265 mine claims. It's 13,000 hectares. It's the largest chunk of property in the area. And that area is Montauban in Quebec. And then we'll take these tailings, and right now, if you look at it, it's a beautiful part of the world. It's cottage country in Quebec. And it's gorgeous, and then you turn around the corner, and all of a sudden you see this big, huge, ugly sand dune. And it's 1 million tons of toxic sand. What we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to process that, extract mica, extract silver, extract gold. By the end of the process, the tailings will no longer be toxic. So that's where the ESG and ESGold comes from. Management team. We've got an extremely good management team, but we're not the best looking guys, so these are the best pictures that I could have for us. The star of the show is Paul Massantuono. Paul's been with the project for about 14 years. And why I say the star is because in any sort of mining project, the toughest thing to do is to get the permits and then also get the community behind you. So he was able to do that, and that allows us to go into production literally as soon as Halloween. It's a little scary, but we'll get there. Paul came to me about 9 months ago. The company at the time had a $3 million market cap. It was trading maybe 5,000 to 10,000 shares a day. He said, Brad, we've got to come up with a plan. We've got to do something. We've got to get this into production soon. So we sat down, we did an operating plan. We coordinated that with a very good marketing plan. We've got an extremely good marketing team. You've got Galen Carson from Caram Media. We've got Doug Robb. We've got a really strong team behind them. We've coordinated that marketing plan with our operating plan. And when we started this, like I said, it was 3 million market cap. We're now a 35 million market cap 9 months from there. We're trading about 250 to 300,000 shares a day. We've raised $5 million. All of that money has come from friends, family, and some specific family trusts. So we haven't gone to the brokerage community. We haven't hit the institutional market yet. In addition, I'm talking about production. There is a big, I don't like using the term blue sky, but there's a big blue sky angle of this too. And that is the exploration of the property. And one of those people that's going to be leading this is Andre Gaucher. And he is, without a doubt, one of the best geologists in Quebec. So we're lucky to have him on the board. There is another addition that we just had, so that's why he's not on this sheet, and that's Peter Espig from Nicola Valley. He just joined the board last week. So this is sort of fun. This is what differentiates us from everybody else. You see the junior resource companies, you've got the Lassonde curve. I get to play with this. So most junior resource companies, they do their exploration, start to find some gold, silver, and expand the resource. Once you get to a position where you're at the bankable feasibility study, you want to take this into production, then the value of the company drops off for various reasons. Number one is the capital cost of actually going into production is prohibitive. It can be extremely dilutive, and it's also time consuming. So if you're buying shares, you may want to hold for a while, but you may not want to hold through that whole construction period, that permitting process that I mentioned that Paul handled so well. We don't have those issues. So you go down in value and then go back up again once you start producing. So what we've done is we've totally morphed this into a totally different curve. We have our exploration, we have our definitive, we have a PEA on the project, we know exactly how much resources are on the site. So we've moved along the curve. So we're right about here. And right about here means we are starting production in the 6 months, but in addition, we're really kicking off our exploration plan. So what you're doing is you're combining the upside on the exploration plus the upside on the production. And there's no downside. There's not going to be any waiting while we permit, while we get the capital for construction. So that's where this curve changes everything. Share structure, we've got 76 million shares outstanding, or fully diluted. We're trading at 50 cents a share. We are going to have to do a further raise, but our objective was always to keep us below 100 million shares. We'll be able to do that now. As I mentioned before, we have mostly friends and family, that's 60%. And those friends and family, some of them have been around for 14 years. So they've stuck with us. They've invested when we were at 10 cents. We did a financing last year for 10 cents. We did another financing recently for 21.5 cents. And the same people that invested with Paul 14 years ago are coming in and doing it again and again. So it's a very, very tight vehicle. We've got very good liquidity. We don't have a lot of selling. And we're looking forward to you guys coming out and doing some buying for us. Our public float is about 25%, and that's where we get the 200,000 to 300,000 shares a day. We're trading, there's 10% management, and 5%, we only have one broker in the deal, and that's a gentleman out of Laval in Montreal, and he's with AIG, and he's a very good person, has been through the ringer with us for a long time, and has still stepped up to the plate every investment. The project itself, as I mentioned, beautiful part of the world. It's right between Montreal and Quebec. I can get in the plane. I usually take the red eye, get picked up by Paul at about 7 in the morning. We could be at the site at about 9:30. Now, the one thing that we do have, and like I said, there's no guesswork here, but we do have a PA, and we did a PA 3 years ago. And what's interesting for me now is you look at these values and you see that when we did the PA, we used gold at $1,700. We're now at $3,450. Silver, $21. We're at 34, I think, now. Even Mike has gone up. Our costs haven't gone up, but this resource price has. So I don't have the new numbers for you yet. They'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. But if you do some of the math, we've got something that's in between 150 and 200% IRR. We've got, as I mentioned, probably $35 million a year in revenue. That would give us a net present value of somewhere north of 75 million to 80 million. Our cost, our break-even cost, is if, sorry, Peter, I'm going to use gold, but if gold goes down to $700 an ounce, that's how cheap it is to produce right now. And again, that gets us to a stage where we can do our exploration. By way of a bit of background, I've had a little bit of luck in this. I'm a Vancouver boy, the civil engineering degree here, MBA at McGill. Worked as a VP and Director of Structural Finance at CIBC Wood Gundy in Toronto. Brought a little bit of that blue suit King of Bay mentality to House Street. Had success with a deal called the Windfall Lake. I took it from care and maintenance to bankable feasibility in about 5 years. Passed it over to Ned Goodman and OTCQB, and they just turned that project into $1.6 billion sale. And they did that last year. So we've had this success in doing exploration. We've done this before. We know what we're doing. The production is just the start for us. What I have on this slide is it wasn't a resource done by us, but there's a resource that gave near surface from 0 to 30 meters, gold grade of 3.76 grams a ton, and silver at 480,000 ounces. So that's what our next objective is. We've got 3 years of tailings to process, and then we're going to go after this near surface stuff. But in the meantime, there's never been a model of the mine the whole time that we've been there, or the whole time it's been around. It's a VSM structure. We know that there's more gold and silver at depth. We're coming out with some new technology now called ANT, which is ambient noise tomography. It's going to be able to give us representation of the structure to a depth of about 800 meters. Anyways, I'm going on just to move fast. Historically, we've had some great numbers, and I'm showing you this just because we know that we're going to get into the exploration side. This is what the mill will look like. To cut the story short, though, buy a few of our shares, start to learn the name ESGold, follow us, see how we go, see how we get into production, and see how we get the message out. Thank you very much.